Good evening. You are live with me, Harrison. You know who we are, UK Colts fans. And to my right, your left, depending on how you're looking at it. I can never remember which way it is. Is a resident expert and Colts enthusiast, Robbie. Robbie, how are you doing?
Yes, mate, we are good, thanks. Don't put yourself down as just saying you're Harrison. Give yourself a bit more props than that, buddy. Without you, there is no show.
Yeah.
As we learnt yesterday.
I wasn't even set up, so that's good, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to start this show with a famous quote from the philosopher Plato. The beginning is the most important part of work. Sunday felt like a new beginning, especially from the start of the season.
We've got to win. That's the only thing that matters is that we've got that one in the win column. Look at the AFC South, we're not that far behind. So, first quarter of the season gone, this is where we are, 1-3. But as you can see along the bottom, your little strap line there, 14-3 is happening. Have you put any money on that yet?
I've not. No, I don't. Right. I don't
put your money where your mouth is.
I'll tell you why I don't bet. Quick little sidetrack, but the last two times I've bet on Arsenal, obviously the soccer team, my soccer team, we lost 6-0 to Chelsea and 5-1 to Liverpool. So my betting career ended very shortly right there.
Stay away from the gambling then, bud.
No such thing as a poor bookie.
Or no, like whatever you bet on, I'll just go against it. You can bet that way if you want.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get through the player ratings. I'll let you lead, Robbie, because, I didn't watch the game, so maybe that's a blessing.
Just again, third quarter again. We just show up for the third quarter, like the last 3 weeks. Like the third quarter's just been a change. And then, but I'm sure we can hit through it.
Yeah. Let's start with the most important person, the special teams. And
so glad you went there. So glad.
Rigoberto Sanchez getting special teams player of the week, which is obviously not a massive accolade, but it's something.
No, but it's good for him. It's good. It's good for the special teams because we are pretty hot on the special teams. Mm-hmm. He had big shoes to fill when he came in, and he certainly hit the ground running. I don't think he gets the notoriety he deserves as being a punter. He's always very consistent. As a special teams unit, if we didn't have that Naheem Hines drop, it'd have been absolutely spotless. If you look where the first touchdown come from their special teams jumping offside. So there's so many things for that special teams, and I think we've mentioned it every single week how good and consistent they are. All of them from Ashton Doolan, who had a stunning game for him, through to Hot Rod and Rigoberto.
Yeah.
So as we score it, it's hard because I'd be giving the special teams an 8 or a 9.
Yeah.
Because that drop, it's still part of the special teams. Do we peg it down a notch or two because of it?
No. It drops happen, don't they?
Mate, I am loving your confidence. I'm absolutely loving that confidence. You're a different man. Like when we win, you're smiling more, you're more chilled out.
Yeah. Tom, obviously Tom watching.
Happier place.
What's up, fellas? The world's a happier place after the Colts. Of course it is. Okay, so special teams. I mean, I'm happy to give an 8. Sorry, mainly because Hines shouldn't be that third. He shouldn't be that special teams running back. He's in there just because Isaiah's obviously got the call up because of the injuries to the secondaries. So Hines has obviously been away from special teams for a while. So to come in cold to try and catch a punt.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than it seems. Hines. I think we've spoken so highly about Hines. There's certainly no criticism coming from me or I believe yourself, because he is one of our elite players. I feel.
Yeah. So an 8 for special teams. We'll get on to I mean, where do you want? You watch the game, so where do you want to start?
Start as we always do. Let's start offense and kind of work our way through.
Yep.
Quarterback is always a good place to start. Carson looked strong.
Yeah.
He certainly looked a bit fitter. Certainly in after the kind of second half, third quarter, fourth quarter, there seems to be a lot more consistency. There seems to be a lot more rhythm with him. I don't know if you know, we didn't get into their half of the field until there's 3.5 minutes left on the clock in the second quarter. So it was very, very start. Well, not even start. It was just stop. And then when we found that bit of consistency, things worked out really, really, really well. He found the tight ends a few times. He spread the ball around very well. One of the sacks I'm still going to say was on him. Yeah. That was just him holding onto the ball, trying to, I guess, force the issue a bit too much when he didn't need to. But certainly looking forward, we're looking good with him. I said back in March, if he can stay fit, we've got a very, very good quarterback there.
And people have got to remember, I think people are forgetting this isn't a 1-year stopgap with Carson Wentz. If things go to plan, this is a 3-4 year, maybe even 5-year quarterback who, the plan from Chris Ballard is that this guy gets us to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, with all we've asked for is consistency in that position, which we haven't had. And he is that piece. I do believe. As a fan, you love that determination, but he needs to look after himself, as we've said so many times. But yeah, 230 odd yards, I think it was, 24 completions. So it was solid. Yeah,
and just to keep going on the Carson train, the Carson effect, I'm calling it. The narrative was that this guy holds onto the ball too long, is a bad teammate, all that. He's a horrible quarterback. He always gets sacked. He can't do this. In his time in Indy, the only thing I've seen him do out of that is hold the ball too long, which he's going to do when playing from behind, like he has the last 3 games, obviously not including the Dolphins one, and 2, with not an offensive line there, and with Bobby Davenport, the poor lad, the line's never complete.
But again, for his defense, he had no off season.
Yeah.
He has had 4 games where game 1 was just a write off. Then he was injured, and this whole offense is still gelling. We're almost a quarter of the way through the season, and where it's, if you look at kind of a trend and where it's going to, it's great. And if we can build on this week, get something out the Ravens, we're back in the AFC South, and you put on the Twitter thing about the playoffs. We can't rule it out. I know we've only won 1 game, but with the players we've got, it's just and obviously we'll come on to some of the negatives as we go through it. But for me, the upside for Carson from what we've seen, just from Indy, let's take away the kind of Philly side of it. But for him in Indy, more than happy.
Yeah. What you're rating Carson then?
For this game, I'd give him an 8.
An 8, cool.
7. I bottled it. I bottled it, Harrison. Just because of that first half, it wasn't really just on him. Things weren't moving. I think he's handicapped, which will come on to Reich. I think we're handicapping him. But that trend upwards, has been fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And also just some of the throws, throwing up for a 50-50 for Jack Doyle, finding Mo Alley Cox in a couple of really key catches. He's progressing. Without T.Y. Hilton still, he's without the first offensive line as well.
We'll move on to your favourite part of the team then, the tight ends. Obviously, we know Jack's God.
I think he's injured. I think he's struggling. He only had 21 snaps from the 71. The first half, he wasn't there. And so, it was a case of when he was needed, when he was called upon. I think he missed 1 day's practice last week with a lower back injury. So maybe some of the block in there wasn't wasn't there for him, so that's why he's kind of limited to the second half. But that 50-50 ball up to him, fantastic.
Yeah. So Mo Alley-Cox for player of the game. I mean, yeah, if Jack Doyle's God, then in that game, Mo Alley-Cox was the Messiah. Because
we sat here last week and the week before and the week before that and said, why isn't he using the red zone packages?
Yeah,
he is a man mountain. And I said maybe he's not showing enough in training. Maybe he's not showing enough, but the catch which led to the JT touchdown.
Yeah,
that was superb. And he found loads of space. He found the separation in the red zone for the touchdown. So for me, and obviously he had the other touchdown as well. So for me, Tom there saying Mo was player of the game, I couldn't say no. He had 3 catches from his 5 targets.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. And then brilliant as well. Granson had his first catch as well.
Yeah,
he played a lot more as well. I've just made note. He made 30 snaps he was in for, which is massive for him. Obviously, with Jack's kind of limited, but again, we drafted him to be that catcher, and to do a bit of donkey work with the blocking. So the tight ends for me, outstanding.
Yeah, cool. Just before I move on to the next.
It does, Tom. It does take 2. For his size, he needs to be covered properly. Which then, if he's splitting out, if he's taking that attention away, then it should make more space for others.
And this is the thing, Tom's opened up a brilliant point here by saying it takes 2 guys to tackle him. Is that me feeding back? Oh God, my microphone went weird then. It takes 2 guys to tackle him. You bring T.Y. Hilton back into the picture now. And all of a sudden, you got 2 guys going for Mo Alley-Cox, 2 guys going for T.Y. Hilton.
Then you got Pittman that needs attention, Pascal needs attention, Paris Campbell, who a bit of a no-show this
Yeah.
Ashton Doolan getting a catch this week.
Yeah.
So there's so many positives, but I think I'm going to keep coming back to it. Frank Reich, his play calling, his clock management, it's just not there. But then we've just had the first few weeks of the season. Perhaps he's going to now start opening the playbook. He had more 2-back play sets, which again worked really well. So for me, it's a case of hopefully Reich starts opening up that playbook.
Yeah. So tight ends,
I'm giving him a 9.
A 9, cool.
Only for their just their pure contribution.
And unit of the game, let's call them.
Absolutely.
Of the game. That's me speaking out loud as I write. Because
I've written it down as well. Let's do running backs.
Okay, running backs, cool. Let's go.
Because I've got an issue.
Oh, go on.
I've got.
We love a round, Robbie. We love a round.
Massively. Right. Mac wanted to get traded. We've said, look, we're open for trading him. Okay.
Yeah.
If you look at the snap counts, Hines with 22 snaps. He was on the field for 22 snaps. Mac was on the field for 22 snaps.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got Hines, who's one of your elite players, one of your kind of show pieces. Mac, who's going to get traded, and they have exactly the same snap count. You play people like Mac, who is surplus to requirements, because you've got to say now he is surplus to requirements because we're talking about him moving on. When you play people like that, it's to look for draft capital.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're not at that stage in the season where we can have that draft capital. We're still trying to win games. We're not trying to tank. Tom, I do get that point, but having 22 snaps, I wrote it down here. He only had 10 carries. For that 10 carries, he got 22 yards, and one of them was, I think, it was a 12-yard run.
Mm-hmm.
So you take that away. He's averaging 2 yards a carry. So it's not putting him on paper to show
against
what he can do.
A backup Dolphins team.
Exactly that. So when Matt gets 10 carries, but Hines get 2 carries. Yes, Hines had that early drop, so maybe there might have been an injury issue, or we don't know. Or if Hines was benched because of that drop, no, Hines offers you way too much to have that.
Yeah, I mean,
So that's my kind of gripe. Why are we giving Mac attention when we've got Jordan Wilkins there?
I'm going to do something I don't often do, but I'm going to come to Frank Reich's defense.
No, I'm having this.
And, I'm going to be a better defensive coordinator than Matty Buffaloose.
Yep.
We'll get to that.
That's why we're fans. That's why we're fans. We're allowed to have our say.
So Marlon Mack is obviously up for the trade. He's probably going to go as a free agent, let's be honest. Nobody's going to give away trade value on a 1-year deal. It's just stupid to sign him to a 1-year deal and then try and seek a trade. The problem is we have 4 great running backs who are just not being utilised. We know that. Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack, Hines and Wilkins.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, Wilkins this season, for me, I haven't really seen him or noted him.
No, he hasn't done much.
And then all of a sudden, we've only got 3. Now, let's say we do trade Marlon Mack, but because of all the snaps Hines has been getting in this time, I think it's week 8 in it, the trade deadline closes. Let's say we go heavy with Hines. All of a sudden, Hines gets injured late into the season because of the fatigue.
Yeah.
Matt gets traded. Where all of a sudden, he's short on running backs. That is how I see it. That would be the common sense side of it. But like you said, there's got to be more because it doesn't make sense.
But JT had another great game. John Taylor, 16 carries, 103 yards. Having another 100-yard game was great. Longest was 38. But he had 2 really good breakout runs, and it was as soon as he got past the first layer, he managed to have the legs that got past the second layer, and really showed off his speed, which was great to see. Obviously, getting the 1 touchdown was also good for him personally. But in the running game, we looked very assertive. We looked very good. I would say, before we get too carried away, it was the Dolphins defense. Wish we could play the Dolphins every week, but when you look at the Ravens, I watched a bit of their game today. Their tackling and their secondary is horrendous. So if JT can get past that first stage, if we run the ball like we should and like we can, they're the keys to success. But yeah, JT, wonderful.
Jonathan Taylor should have been a first-round pick.
But
I personally don't get how he made it to a second.
Running backs just don't go, do they? Because they've got no trade value. They're just bell cows. But if you take off the 2 big runs by JT, I think it works out. You still got 4 yards to carry.
Yeah, and this is no insult to Jonathan Taylor, but he is a mini Derrick Henry. Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't give him them props just yet, but I definitely get it. But then you have to give the O-line's looking so much better than week 1.
Yeah.
They're creating the gaps, they're creating the space. And so it's down for the running backs to find it and to execute.
Yeah. Okay, so let's rate the running backs.
I'd say a 7 just because the Mack and the Hines thing just brings it down.
Yeah, okay. O-line?
It was hard really because obviously Reed was in. Reed was fantastic covering for Quentin.
I thought he did a brilliant job.
He played all the snaps. Didn't give up much pressure. Fisher played 71. He still got beat a couple of times around the edge. But even he said he's still lacking that match quickness, that match sharpness. Which again, from the Achilles injury he had, he's only just come back.
Yeah. So
again, it's all about growth and they're certainly growing the right way. Pinter come in and I thought did great. Plowinski did awesome as well. But it's obviously Davenport and that Pryor. They don't quite know who's the right tackle there. Obviously, they keep swapping in and out. Davenport, for me, he's obviously, once we're fully fit, I don't think he'll be on the team.
No.
But it's good to see, obviously, Pinter cover as well with Kelly, which was towards the end. But you said before, Kelly's not actually injured. It was just a boot. Yeah. I thought he did his ankle. So that's great news. It's worth saying as well, Fisher played 5 snaps on special teams, so he's getting that bit fitter as well.
Yeah.
So he played all 71 on offense, plus he played 5 for the special teams, and that's nothing but good. Just to the more game reps, the more snaps he gets, the more match fit and match ready he's going to be.
I don't like to single out and hate on one person because it's those first 3 weeks were not just on Bobby Davenport, and I do like to believe that somewhere along the line he could be a good asset to the team. But for me, I just don't know how he made the cuts when we've got, when he cut Sean Davis, who he drafted. That's very unlike Chris Ballard to do.
Yeah, I just think it was depth at the position. He knew we were going to be needing tackles. Obviously, we've needed tackles during the season. Was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? We had eight players that started. That played in the O line, and we didn't go for 6-person personnel there. Because obviously we've got the tight ends that do the donkey work.
Yeah.
So we need that depth. But as soon as Braden Smith's back fit, as soon as Q's back fit, it's going to be a different look.
Yeah. I mean, like you say, it's improving. The thing for me with Davenport, on which I really picked up on, is his lack of willingness to learn, if that makes sense.
I get what the development. The last 3 weeks, you can't say he's developed and grown much.
Yeah. And when he's been playing and training next to Quentin Nelson, up against DeForest Buckner, Kamoiko Toure, these guys who are, we know Quentin's the best at his position, maybe the best lineman, and we know DeForest Buckner is one of the best rushers in the league. I need to see him looking interested at playing next to Quentin Nelson, if that makes sense. And he just doesn't look interested on the field.
No, it's like I do get it, but that whole right side with Glowinski, it's obviously not as good as the left, but I think we're lucky we're getting to nitpick now. We're getting to that position rather than just saying, Wentz is holding the ball too long, which is creating too much pressure. It's all starting to gel, which is good. Week 4 going into obviously 5, 6, 7, 8, which is where you start kind of getting those wins collected and collated, and you start to know what this team is. I think I said 2 weeks ago, we don't know the identity of this team, but we're starting to run the ball better now.
Yeah.
We're starting to get a lot more chunk plays, and we're starting to get that identity on offense, which we didn't have before.
Yeah. So rating for the O line?
I'd go 7.
Yeah, 7 might be positive.
It was solid. They did what they needed to do. It was growth on the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Receivers.
Okay. Wide receivers. Like I said, I didn't really watch the game. I've just seen highlights, so I don't know.
Paris Campbell's really quite weak for him. Only 2 catches. Pittman again was the man. 6 carries on 8 targets, 59 yards. Pittman's just, for me, wide receiver 1, even when TY comes back.
Yeah.
He's young. He does the blocking. He does the donkey work. He's always there in the mix. When Doyle catches the ball, Pittman's straight there. If there's a bit of a ruck and we're pushing on, he's always behind. Like for me, Pittman's the man. Zach Pascal, another solid week. Another 4 catches for him. Ashton Doolan coming with a catch. Ashton Doolan just had an absolute immense. Like he only had the 1 catch. He was in for a fair few snaps. Obviously, the special team. Obviously, he got us the turnover on that. Yeah. So it did what it needed to do. It wasn't that kind of game where if we'd have got things going in the first half, I think their numbers would look much better. But we just couldn't get it going. So this is all really from the kind of Q3, Q4.
Yeah. Tom saying Pittman's.
Mate, I absolutely love him. Like, I don't think I've ever watched him and thought he's not good.
Yeah.
I've never thought he lacks this or lacks that. He's fast, he's strong, he's powerful, he can catch, and he just does the donkey work, which usually goes without that kind of comments, and you don't really know you wide receivers for blocking schemes. But yeah, absolutely love him.
Okay, so wide receiver rating.
Just go again 7 because it's improving and it's getting there. I want to see more from Paris Campbell, but I just think me and him are never going to be friends. When you take that number 1 shirt, you've got to be balling out week in, week out.
And I mean, we get on to the next part now, which could open this up a bit. But Frank Reich and Marcus Brady, I'm putting them together. because just like when Nick Sirianni was there, it's a joint effort, as I say.
Yeah.
Obviously, Frank Reich calls the plays, but Marcus is the quarterback whisperer.
Yeah.
I mean, now my big thing with Frank Reich, I think I've said it before, is he always seems to go away from the hot hand. When he doesn't, and he keeps it simple, look at what happens. Regardless if you like passing, running, play actions, whatever you like, when Frank Reich keeps it simple for this team, it does well.
Yeah, no, I get it. The red zone, we were 2 for 4, which 50%, massive improvement for the Colts. That is.
Yeah.
We had 2 short fields on turnovers, which we managed to only get 6 points from the 2 turnovers from 2 kicks. Which, when it's that short yardage, you want to be getting 7s. If we were playing a good team, there would need to be touchdowns, not kicks. Third downs was 6 for 15, but again, that was that kind of first half issue. We had 10 drives in total. So, when you look at it, 27 points off 10 drives would have been nicer to get a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But, where we have been the last 3 weeks to where we are now, it's fact like that third quarter and fourth quarter on offense, if we just need to get that more consistent through the whole 60 minutes and that's when you win games.
Yeah.
Just lucky we're playing the Dolphins. I think the schedule's helped us this week playing the Dolphins when we played them.
Mm-hmm.
They've got no confidence. They haven't got Tua. They haven't they're missing so much, and it was a great week to play them.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, this is my only gripe. Is it's just he outcoaches himself sometimes.
The end of the first half, the play calling with the time management was horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
It really was. So, I'd only go for a 6.
Yeah.
We haven't given QB 7, running back 7, O-line 7, running back, wide receiver 7. So, for me, he just falls just under that.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously, tight ends 9 because they were the game winners.
Yeah. Defense will start up front in the trenches with the defensive line, D tackles, defensive ends, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, no, it was good. If we go on the negatives first, with Quitty Pay not being in, I think it was yourself or Elliot that was talking about how good Ben Bannigu was in the offseason. I've said, look, no, he's not there.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't go out on passing plays. He's only there for the throwing, for the passing. And even then, he didn't make an impact. He's not doing enough.
Yeah.
But with Quitty Pay not being there, Kimoko Torre, I don't know how or why, whether because it was against Jacoby, but he stepped up massive for me.
Am I right in thinking Kimoko Torre took a year out due to COVID?
Last year, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing him last year.
Because he seems to have been a nothing. Obviously, because he's taken that year out, that's nothing on him. That's personal choice.
Yeah, no, that is what it is. You got no.
But are we just being the player that we actually drafted now?
2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 3 individual tackles. That's what you want to be seeing from your defensive line. You want to be seeing the sacks. You want to be seeing the tackles for loss because that's what they're there. They're there to impact the game. They impacted the game so much that Darius ended up having a good game. Bobby O managed to have a pretty good game compared to what's been the last 3 weeks. The defensive line worked. Again, it was only the Dolphins' offensive line, but you can only play and you can only beat who's in front of you.
Yeah.
And I'd say Grover, another strong game, another step in the right direction. DeForest again, exactly the same, another step in the right direction. Tyquan Lewis, again, come up with some really big plays at crucial times. So for me, it was good. If you look at the whole game, 3 points in the first quarter, which was awfully off Heinz's muffed kick return. No points in the second quarter. No points in the third quarter. But then they managed to get 14 in the fourth quarter, which will come on to your mate Flus very shortly. So for me, the defense stepped up this week.
Yeah.
Up until the last kind of quarter. But, where we've kind of said there's been a lack of physicality, there's been a lack of impact, there's been a lack of kind of real kind of structure with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were there this week. They turned up.
Yeah. Okay, so D-line.
Give them a 7. No, 8.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, just because we're positive this week.
Okay, we'll go to the linebackers.
Good. Darius was top of the charts.
Oh, just got a comment from Tom.
Yeah.
Still not convinced by the pass rush. I mean, yeah, but again, it's not our fittest pass rushing unit, you know.
Yeah.
I love Quitty Pay, and you know I'm going to hype that guy up because I think he's a monster. But give him time to learn.
He's had 3 games in the NFL.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not his biggest fan whatsoever. I wasn't his biggest fan through kind of the off season either, but you know he's got to learn. He's got to be nurtured. He's got to real kind of progress. And you'd have thought with the draft capital we gave up, he should have been a game wrecker from day one, but he's not. So you've got to give him that time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think Al-Qadim Mohammed. I think you know he's a good roster player. But I still think we're missing that something.
Missing a leader. I love I love him.
Yeah.
But, you know, you look at Justin Houston in there,
who we've got to play this week.
Who we know is a monster. You know, he may be old, but he's like Frank Gore. He may be old, but he's still going to run for 15 yards on you if you don't stop him.
Mate, Frank's still running, isn't he?
Yeah. If think it's something like if he carries on playing for another 2 years, he could end up playing against his son.
That'd be good. But like we've got Stallworth, who's kind of a good kind of roster option. So yeah, the pass rush isn't quite there, but Tom, I think it's going in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I think you know there wasn't much of a lower place it could have gone.
Mm-hmm.
So you know it's hopefully that building stones and that stepping stone. And what's going to be interesting is this week against Lamar.
Yeah.
You know, keeping him in case, keeping him in the pocket, keeping your lanes disciplined. But yeah, no, definitely agree with that. You know, I like it when we've got scheme plays for Darius to kind of come down for the rush. You know, or we bring Kenny Moore down, or you know, one of them. I'd love to see that kind of play. But for me, the linebackers, you know, Darius had a more Darius game. I think he's getting a little bit fitter. You know, as I said, if you look at the stat chart, you know, he's at the top of the defense for the first week in a long time. You know, if he wasn't an idiot when he picked up the fumble, he got the face mask, which obviously flagged us back. But, you know, a linebacker that rarely has the ball in his hands probably just got a little bit excited. So I'm not going to have a go at that. Do you know what, Tom? I've literally just tried Googling because the guy that's coming back, he's due to come back week 6, I think it is.
Deo.
Yes.
Deo. I'm going to murder his last name.
Roger
Banjo.
After the discussion of Bobby Okereke, or whatever, however it's supposed to be said now. Bobby O. I'm not even going to try it. But again, he's supposed to be coming back. You know, if he comes back week 6, which I think it is off the top of my head, you know.
From what I remember is every expert, or so-called expert of the draft was saying Deo was a first-round pick. It's just his injury kept him out of the first round. Yeah,
but again, it's going to take time for him to become match fit. As we said, like week 1, week 2, there's a difference between being fit and then there's being match sharp. So, you know, we do need that extra person. We do need a game wrecker.
And these are all young kids. You know, people forget how young this whole squad is.
But that's what we said before we come on about Gilmore. You know, we're not going to go and get a 30, 31-year-old that we don't really need at the moment. You know, we've got Xavier Rhodes, who Xavier Rhodes is the old man in the group. We don't need another one because that's not who we are or what we're building. You know, Sandeo had a really nice game as well. He got some nice snaps, got some nice tackles, got some nice solo tackles as well. So again, stepping stones in the right place.
So we got a bit sidetracked, but rating for the linebackers.
I'd go 7 because they're not quite where they are yet, or not where they need to be.
It still seems like I'm just a little bit, but like you said, we're going the right way.
Yeah, and it's another week of being match fit. It's another week of getting sharper. There's no rationale behind them not knowing each other because it is predominantly the same from last year. I think it's your mate Flus that's holding back. If it wasn't for that fourth quarter, conceding 14 points, we'd have conceded 3 points a game. And I said last week, we don't concede less than 20 points. We conceded 17 this week, but that fourth quarter garbage time, Jacoby had a couple of nice throws in the fourth quarter, which he's got to have at least 2 good throws for the whole game because he was dreadful.
Mm-hmm. We'll move on to we'll do the secondary as a whole. So cornerbacks, backs, secondary, free safety, strong safety.
Yeah, Rhodes had a good game until the fourth quarter when he started getting beat up on by Parker.
I'm not gonna. I mean, there's that flag. I'm not gonna hold it against him because it was in Miami.
That was a Rock Your Sin flag from last year.
Yeah,
but I think Rock's now getting some real nice exposure. People are seeing how good he is. Julian Blackman, another solid game.
Yeah.
I'm a big Blackman guy. Zaire Franklin, he had a solid game as well. And Kenny Moore, he's not playing to the level of last year.
Yeah.
But then no one really has. But again, I'm not gonna.
There's still flashes, I think.
Yeah, you can't sit other than that fourth quarter, which is a scheme thing, which always happens with the Colts. We're ahead in a game, we're ahead of comfortable, and yet the defense seems like, well, you can just play in front of us, we'll give you it, and then all of a sudden that's gone over the head, and that's another big chunk of play, and they've scored.
Yeah.
But I don't know why it just always seems to happen with Flus's defense. It's this bend but don't break, but sometimes you just need to close a game off.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz did a really good game icing the game.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need defense to step up and just give them that hit factor. Fourth downs, Miami were 2 for 2. When you're playing Miami, you can't let them do that.
Yeah.
You've got to be a bit more aggressive than that.
There's the game. There's the game there.
Yeah. Obviously, Tom said about the pass rush, but when we're defending against the run game, they're 49 yards on the ground. So we were containing them well. We know Jacoby's not going to be running out. But yeah, it was solid from the defense until that fourth quarter.
So secondary,
it's not even the fourth quarter. It was 2 drives.
Yeah.
2 of the 10 drives that they had. So 20% of the game we kind of just folded.
Yeah. So
let's go 7s. Let's go 7s, and then but Flus is getting a 6 just for that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I don't like him. You don't like him.
And I can run now because I've got all the play ratings down.
Go on.
This whole bend don't break. It probably works excellent at college level, right? Because you're always going to have a team with the better athletes in college.
Yeah,
it's not the case in the NFL. Saying bend don't break at the Colts level is okay, but it does not work. You have to come in you have to rush 7 randomly. It's just so scripted. It's predictable.
And we were so good defensively for the first 3 quarters. Well, again, it's just the last 2 plays or the last 2 drives where we kind of just gave it up, which, if we're staying on the positive, which I think we are, 80% of the game was fantastic on defense.
Yeah.
But again, consistency, you need that consistency. When we're playing the Ravens, who have a multi-form attack from, the QB getting with his feet, or he can throw, they've got a couple of good tight ends there. They've got a good running back. So, they're going to have to be on the ball, but they're going to have to be aggressive. let's continue that aggressiveness and that owning the defensive line. Let's dominate their offensive line, which would be cool.
Yeah, I think Matt Eberflus is a good coach. He's a good man management coach. You know, he really does like the guys, and the guys like him. You know, nobody has a bad word to say about him in the locker room, which is nice. But it's just, what's this? He's 4th year now.
Yes,
he just needs to show me something electric. And at the minute, it's sort of, he's getting bailed out by individual brilliance.
Yeah, he wasn't Frank Reich's defensive coordinator as well. So no. I'm surprised he carried on. Obviously, like, Indy's a place where they give them time. They won't just sack people for the sake of it. But let's just see how we get on this week. You know, I think it's very positive from that win, but you're always going to be positive after a win. Wins can paper over cracks, which I think had done a little bit, but you can only play what's in front of you.
So my last sort of point is, I will pay. Okay, I will pay. So, Mr. Ursay, if you're watching, I will pay for you to fly someone from rugby union, you know, one of the New Zealand teams, South African teams, English teams, you know, just to teach our defensive players how to tackle. I will pay for it. I don't care.
I think he's just gone and bought like another Elton John piano for like £10 million. I don't think he needs you a few £100 for a flight.
Right, well, get him over there then, because the tackling.
That's NFL wide. That is NFL wide. Like the standard of tackling.
It's so, but it's not even tackling. It's finishing. I think we surrounded Jacoby with about 4 blue shirts at one point, and he just span away from them all, and they was all just lying on the floor, like waiting for him to make the play.
You know, it was great to see some of our players play with smiles, like smiles from the get go of that game. You know, there was a lot of smiles, which was good to see, because obviously when your team's 0-3, it's quite easy to get down on yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
But our games, it's Monday night. I've got a big meeting next Tuesday morning, which I'm obviously going to be half asleep for.
We need to win then.
So yeah, getting up at 1:30. Bear in mind, Monday night's just gone, was indoors, and they had to delay it for a weather issue. We'll see what happens in Baltimore.
Yeah, and we all know the history and rivalry between.
I was listening to the Colts podcast. What's the old geezer's name? What's the old guy? Used to be on Pat McAfee's podcast. He now does it with the Colts.
Oh.
Yeah, he was interviewing the COO and a couple of old Baltimore Colts players, and it was quite cool to listen to.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think we can beat the Ravens. They're as banged up as us. It's really going to be on, can we stop the brilliant creativity of Lamar Jackson?
But if we control the clock with our running game, you know, their defensive line, you know, it's not that good. You know, they've got Justin Houston, who, you know, he has a couple of good plays a game, but the rest of it he kind of takes off. Their linebackers are shot, so you know, it's not all doom and gloom. And you know, if you'd have said 2 weeks ago we've got the Ravens and I'm pretty confident, I'd have called you a crazy kid, to put it politely. So I think, you know, it's looking positive. Even you know, if it doesn't go our way against Baltimore, I think we've still got enough stepping stones. You know, if you look at the rest of the AFC South, you know, we're only 2 games away from being top.
Yeah. I mean, we're going 14-3, so I don't know what you're talking about, but
the dream is alive.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. I mean, you know, Tom always comes by like a trooper.
Tom's a man.
I know we get a lot of people watching after. Obviously, we stream at different times to the US and around the world. But yeah, in the battle between Super Bowl winner Jacoby Brissett and Super Bowl winner Carson Wentz,
Carson wins. Our Ginger Ninja wins.
And that's the Carson effect. Thanks so much for watching. See you all later.
Thanks, buddy. Speak to you later.